and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I am going to show you how I created this look on my eyes. We're going to get right into the video. I'm going to be using some creams and powders, and I'm going to use a metallic in this video. So this is very similar to the look that I shared on some of my recent videos, so maybe you guys really enjoyed that. I just kicked it up a notch and used a cream with this as well. Really quickly before we get started, I share makeup, skincare, and fashion. If that's something that interests you, please consider clicking that button below and hit that subscribe button. And also make sure you get that notification bell too. I don't know if you're going to be notified because YouTube changes their tune a lot, but we'll give it a shot. The first thing that I did on my eyes is I went in and I used a transition color. So I used the color Weekender. So I went in first, and I believe I was using my Refer 15 brush. I just dipped it in there and just get it all over on my eye. Before I start any eye look, I always go in with a primer, and the eye primer that I really like using is the one from Trish McAvoy. I've been using this one for a while now, so really enjoy using that. So I apply that first, and then I go in with my transition color. Transition color, I enjoy using those. And the reason that I like to use those, I just feel like as I'm adding different colors and layers on there, I can blend it out, especially along the edges there. It just blends a little bit more seamlessly. You don't have to work as hard to blend all that eyeshadow in that's on the, the outside edge on your crease and the outer corner. I just feel like you can blend it in a lot nicer. It just blends more seamlessly. After I did that, I went in and I used a Laura Mercier color stick. So I went in and used the color Cocoa. And this is the color right here. This is the color Cocoa. Really, really love her eye caviar sticks. I have several of them already. She sent me this and a couple other ones, so I just want to incorporate it in here. The thing about using a cream shadow along with a powder shadow is it will intensify the color more. I shared videos in the past of me using creams and shadows together. It's just really, really a pretty look. I applied that to my eye, and then I went in and I used my Refer brush number 12. So I went in there and added it to the corner, and I blended it in and blended in, keeping it mostly on the outside corner and working a little bit above there. I went ahead and did the same thing to the other eye, just applied that shadow and then just blended it in. Then I went in and I used the color Guilt Trip. So it's a purpley color. It's kind of a bright purpley color. I knew you wouldn't see a lot of purple color, but I knew that once it's layered on there, you're gonna see some of that purpley color. So I took I took my number 15 again, I believe, and I went in and I applied it just in the corner, and then I just kind of worked it on the outside corner and a little bit on the top there, and just kind of blended in. One thing I want to tell you too, and I just always want to try to remember to say this, because I think sometimes people assume you know this if you've been watching videos, but there's a lot of makeup videos out there and they don't explain it because we just all assume. But whenever you see somebody and they're blending a shadow out, it's not like a 5-second thing, okay? We just speed it up because it does take a while. Even when I'm blending that cream shadow in, I was really taking the time to really blend that. But if I showed you the entire video of doing an eye look, it could be quite long. So just know that, just make sure that you're blending it well. You don't want it to look splotchy or anything like that. You want it to look really blended and seamless. So after I applied that and blended it in really, really well to both of the eyes, then I went in and I used the shadow breakaway. So the reason I used that is I just wanted to brighten up this eyelid a little bit before I applied my next color, because the next color is a little bit sheer. Even though I'm doing something a little special to it, it's kind of sheer. So I wanted to put that. You could use a concealer and you could do the whole cut crease thing, but I just kind of cheated and I just use a lighter shadow there. That's just what I do. It's not as intense as if I use the cut crease method, but it's just an easier option for me. After I do that, then I get my Mario palette, and it's the Mixed Metals palette. I go in and I scrape the shadow rose gold. So I get the color rose gold, and I take that little spatula and I scrape it to get it in my palette. Then I take 2 drops of the by Mario This is called the Metal Master Manipulator. So I take 2 drops of that, I drop it in there, I take the spatula, and I'm mixing it up. Then I go in and I take my rougher brush number 2. I dip it in there and then I very, very carefully apply it to my eye, and I'm kind of tapping it in there as well as I'm applying it, making sure to blend it well. One thing you have to make sure with this is you have to do one eye at a time, and you have to really make sure you're blending it really well, because this dries down, and once it's dry, honey, you're not going to get this off unless you use an eye makeup remover. So I really make sure that I'm getting it really good so it doesn't look patchy anywhere. And I say patchy because you don't want to like miss a little spot here on your eye. It kind of looks obvious. You want to make sure you blend it really, really well. Then when I'm done doing that, I go back and I take my rougher brush number 15 and I dip it into that same purple color, the gilt strip purple color. I take that and I go ahead right on the outside where I put the color before, and I'm making sure I get right on the edge of where that shadow is to kind of blend it a little bit. I do that on both eyes so it doesn't look like I have a stop where that color is. I want it to kind of blend together. So I just go in there and I just blend those two together. Then I go and I take my rougher brush number 3 and I dip it into the colors Gilt Trip and Jet. So it's a black color and a purple. So I take those two together and I apply it under my eye really carefully, and then I go back and I'm just kind of smudging out. I don't pull my color down really far because I don't want to drag my eye down, but I do put that color on the underneath on my eyes. I just find that using an eyeshadow for me under my eyes, it just works really good, and I don't have an issue with it coming off. But here's a tip for you. If you are someone that you find that if you use either an eye pencil or you use an eyeshadow and it doesn't stay on, then you might want to consider doing 2 things. One thing you can do is you can use an under eye primer like the one from Smashbox. That's a really good one. So you can apply it under your eyes before you apply your concealer. If you don't want to use it all under your eyes, you can just use a little bit right underneath your eyes, right where your lash line is. Maybe use a Q-tip or something because you just want to get very, very little. You don't use much of it. And then let it dry and then try that. Another thing that you can do is get like a little mini beauty blender, or unless you can use a bigger one or a bigger sponge or just a tiny sponge, and put a little bit of setting spray on it, and you can just very, very carefully put a little bit of that under your eye. You can even use an eye makeup primer before you put your makeup on. So those are just a couple ideas if you are somebody that when you put your either an eyeshadow on or an eyeliner on, it's smearing and smudging. So you might want to try one of those tips. And then when I'm done, which I didn't share on camera, I finished doing my brows. I applied some false lashes. I'm using the MAC number 33, which are these right here. I have another pair of these. I love these lashes. You do have to trim them a little bit. These are a little long for me, but I love them because they look pretty natural, I feel like. And then I went in and I used the Charlotte Tilbury Barbarella Brown eyeliner, and I used that inside my waterline. You can use black too, but I was using the one from Pixie, and lately every time I use that eyeliner, my eyes are burning. So I don't know if I have an allergy to that. So I went and used this one today instead. So I thought it was the lash glue. So far so good, and I didn't use that other eyeliner. So maybe it's the eyeliner that's bothering me. I don't know. So that's how I created this look. Really easy. Look how pretty that is. I'll tilt my head like that. You can see. Really, really, really pretty look. And like I said, these lashes are nice because I don't feel like they're over the top lashes. My lashes are growing out though. I'm so excited. This side is really grown. That X-Lash lash serum is amazing. It's probably the best lash serum I've ever used. I've used a lot of different lash serums, but it's the only one so far that is working for me. Like I said, occasionally some of my lashes will still fall out because they shed, and I've always had that issue before I even started using a lash serum, so it has nothing to do with the lash serum. But even when that happens, it's like bam, man, they are like growing back. So I would say at least I would say by 2 weeks for sure, I would think that I should be able to start wearing mascara again. So I don't feel like I have to wear these very long. I don't mind these lashes because they're very light, very comfortable. Once you put them on, girl, you don't even feel like they're on your eyes. I mean, they are really, really good ones. I would definitely recommend it. And putting lashes on is not that hard. I've shared videos on how to do that. If I remember, I will leave it up there too as well. Super easy to apply lashes. Just practice. It takes practice to do it. So really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. Would really appreciate if you would share my video. You can follow me on all the socials. I will leave all the details too with everything that I'm wearing, and I will catch you guys all in my next video. Bye. Ladies, if that's some shit. Really quickly before we get started, I share makeup, skincare, fashion for mature women. If that's something that interests you, interests us. Okay. Where is my magnifying glass?